Hi, welcome along, and what an incredible time it's been for us. None of us could have predicted a global pandemic, a lockdown, and the effects that all that would have on army cycling. And it's probably just as unlikely we'd have predicted the first ever virtual Army Road Race Championships, following on from such a successful e-racing series earlier on in the summer. But it's happened, and here we are. So let's get stuck in to our race preview. Now, joining me throughout is a man who has contributed so much to army cycling, both on and off the bike over the years. It's Alan Riddler.
James, hi, how are you doing?
Great to have you with us today. My first question to you has to be, when you were putting your plans together for this season back in the winter, did you ever think you'd be looking forward to a virtual Army Road Race Championship on Zwift off the back of a highly successful e-racing series streamed online live with expert commentary?
Absolutely not, no. To the back end of last year, we were planning a full in real life road racing season, looking forward to getting the team into a full tour series. So obviously COVID-19 put paid to that, and we had to adapt pretty quickly.
You must be really heartened by the way that army cycling has really embraced the whole e-racing scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that any of us really had done before now. We had a few of our riders that were using Zwift through the winter as to motivate themselves when we're on an indoor trainer.
And this year, of course, this is the first time ever that an army championship has been decided using e-racing, isn't it?
And so yeah, we've turned it around pretty quickly. So it's been pretty short notice to put it together. But I'm really excited to see how the riders compete on the circuit on Tuesday, and how they transfer their in real life road racing skills onto the virtual platform.
All right, coming up, we'll be speaking to Army team rider Steph Gloyn. Now, he is one half of Army Cycling's phenomenally successful live streaming race commentary partnership. So for that, though, we're lucky enough to be joined by another Army team rider now. So let's bring in women's Army Cycling road team member Fran Derbyshire to hear about the prospects for the Women's Championship. I'll ask you straight away the same question I asked Al earlier. Did you ever think you'd be finding yourself preparing for a virtual online Army Championships?
No, not in a million years.
And how has it been for you competing virtually? Is this the first time you've ever done it, or did you dabble in Zwift before?
This is my first time ever. I had no idea really what Zwift was until some of the teammates pushed it out and said how good it was, especially racing. And that it's all we've got at the moment. So I've taken the ball by the horns and got stuck in and had a go.
Yeah, and so turning to the championship itself then, who do you think are the biggest threats to you in the women's race? Who's your money on?
Well, funny enough, I would say Betsy Dew, teammate. Right. There's a lot of good climbers, because obviously we've got the volcano climb. There's going to be at least 5 or 6, not just Army team riders. And there's a few out there that have been doing really well that we've been watching on the Army races. Caroline Nottage, Libby Dankert. So there's at least 5 or 6.
I know you're still looking to get more riders signed up for the women's race.
Yes, so I put a plea out on social media over the weekend, and it's worked so far. We've gone from 2 riders up to 15. There's still plenty more out there that are going to join.
Yeah, and if you look at the women's race in the past, we've had such a strong field, in years gone by, with the likes of Chanel Mason, EJ Harris, Charmaine Porter. They all rode or are riding professionally at international level, and they were also competing in the Army Championships. So there's been such strength in depth, Fran, in the women's field in the past.
Yeah, it's almost been tough to get near the top 3 places.
Yeah,
with
I can
really
imagine.
Strong riders, but now it's open to anybody now.
Yeah, and Al, who's your tip for victory in the women's race this year?
I think, like Fran said, there's a few people that are going to be contesting the podium places. I think it is hard to see beyond Betsy Dew. I think she's had a really strong build up to this season anyway on the road, and she's embraced Zwift.
Yeah, great. Okay, so Fran, thanks for now. I know you're going to join us again later, and good luck for the race on Tuesday.
Thank you.
All right, now we are joined to discuss the men's championship race, this time by Army team rider and online cycle racing commentator extraordinaire, Steph Gloyn. So before we bring him in, let's take a look at some of his work alongside his co-commentator, James Bevan. Let's take a look.
This is the Army Cycling Road Race Series, race number 1.
Looking for them orange numbers on the right-hand side now, looking for someone to go early.
I mean, the numbers that Army Cycling have got on the start line here are massive.
There's already been a selection made, so an interesting start.
Oh, well, what a finish that was. I couldn't make it out, but Rob Salby went so early, but I thought he...
Steph, welcome to the show. So I got to say, what an incredible past few months for you. You started off in March, looking forward to a spring and summer racing for the Army, and you've ended up now not only as one half of an amazing online commentary team with fellow Army rider James Bevan, but you're now looking at competing the first ever virtual Army Road Race Championship. So my question is, how on earth did all this happen?
It's been a bit of a strange one, like it has for everyone, really. But in terms of come round to March, and obviously the lockdown started, and Zwift obviously went massive, and a lot of the guys were carrying a lot of form. We were hoping to race in the Tour Series, so we were hoping that we would be hitting a bit of form at the end of April and May anyhow. So we started Zwifting and racing quite a bit on there. And then obviously the idea came out to carry on running the ACRSS virtually, which me and James then thought would be a good idea if we could commentate on it and give a little bit of advice. And
that's the Army Cycling Road Race Series, ACRRS.
Yeah, which would normally take place on a Wednesday afternoon, on a sports afternoon.
Yeah.
But they obviously done it virtually on Zwift, and we just thought it'd be a good idea just to add a little bit of excitement to it, try and put the word out there for cycling across the Army. We never thought in a million years that it would get quite as big as it did. A lot of the streams are getting way over 2,500 views. So once you'd done one, that was it then, really. Just have to keep going. And then it snowballed, and then before you know it, we ended up doing 7 or 8 rounds, and we really enjoyed it, to be honest. I'm looking forward to the next round coming in about 2 or 3 weeks.
In terms of the race itself, then, which other riders do you see as the biggest threats to you on the day, being Army champion?
Well, it's hard to look past James Bevan. He's obviously going to go in massive favourite.
Yeah.
He's taken Zwift to a different level. But at the end of the day, it's on the rest of us to come up with a way to beat him.
Are these tactics going to play a big part, or is it just going to be a pure watts per kilo slugfest? What do you think?
I think if other people want a chance of winning as well, I think they're going to have to play it tactically. If you just go for out and out watts per kilo, then you might as well give the trophy to James at the start. So we need to use tactics, and like I say, just find a way to try and make sure that he's not there at the end.
Yeah, sure. And Al, Steph was talking about the parkour for the championships. Just take us through the course that the riders are going to be tackling.
It's a really good kind of classics kind of stage, really. It's mostly flat for the first kind of 10k. And then there's a little kick, which I think a few of the riders will then start to will probably see as their first kind of hurdle. But it's not really going to kind of test the legs until we get to about the 22k point, and that's where you get to the bottom of the KOM for the volcano climb. And for some of those riders, that's going to be about 3.8 kilometers, averages about 3%. But the real sting in the tail of that climb comes just before the crest of the climb, and it kicks up to about 10%. And so some of the riders then that are kind of hanging on, if there's some tactics come into play and they start to push over the top, then they could see themselves getting distance pretty quick.
And we welcome back now Women's Army team rider Fran Derbyshire. So we were just saying, Fran, that Steph said that the volcano course could potentially suit him tactically and physically. What do you think about the course? Does it suit you? Are you looking forward to it? What do you think?
I'm looking forward to it, but it definitely doesn't suit me. I would love the day the Army Champs is a day for the sprinters. But nevertheless, it's about power, pushing out as much power as I can, trying to stick with people, or take them by surprise and attack it myself.
Yeah, okay. And Steph, you were saying that the volcano climb could be a place where you could do well, maybe get an attack in?
Yeah, I'm not going to be giving anything away, James. No, yeah, I just think, you know, there are other parts of the course where they're going to be important, but that's certainly where coming over the top of that climb, and I know the climb extremely well. I've raced there a lot. Like coming over the top of that climb, you're going to have a select group.
Yeah, great. So Al, it looks like there's a lot to look forward to on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited because we're going to get to see the Army team riders competing against those that compete in the series, because they don't normally compete in the series. And I'm really excited to see how the series riders then come and compete alongside those Army riders. It'll be really interesting to see the comparison.
Okay, so that's it from us. Thanks to Al, to Fran and to Steph for joining us today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to Army Cycling, to the channel, if you want to find out what happens at the first ever virtual Army Road Race Championships and to keep in touch with everything Army Cycling get up to. Thanks for joining us.